Good evening and welcome to the 2017 Annual Gala for the International Missionary Foundation. My name is Father Sam Moorhead and I'm the National Chaplain of IMF. It's my joy to welcome you here tonight and to thank you in advance for your support of this amazing institution that does so much good, not only locally, but around the world. The mission of IMF is simple. It helps us to answer the call we heard in the gospel last Sunday. Whatever you did for the least of mine, you did for me, said Jesus in the gospel of last Sunday. How do we help Jesus' lesser brothers and sisters? How do we help him in those who have medical needs in Africa, Nigeria, Papua New Guinea, and throughout the world? How do we go beyond our own boundaries and borders to find Jesus? And in the mystery of finding the Jesus whom we serve, we find that he is serving us in the poor. IMF brings these two great worlds together, those of us here in the West and in a country like the United States filled with so many blessings. And we meet those who are so near to him in these other parts of the world. It's a mutually enriching program where we, bringing his missionary love to them, we find that they are serving us at the same time.
Hello, my name is Joseph Williams, and by the grace of God, I am the Executive Director of the International Missionary Foundation based here in Colorado. In 2009, I had the privilege of going on a spiritual journey, on a pilgrimage to France, where I had an encounter with many saints, specifically that of Saint Claude La Colombière, the spiritual confessor, to St. Margaret Mary Alacoque of the Sacred Heart. While I was at his tomb or his remains, I knelt down praying that the Lord will make my heart be like unto his. And then I had a deeper connection to try to spread the unmitigated love and long-suffering of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, specifically to the poor. And I asked the Lord to do unto me according to his will. And when I came back to the years, little did I know what was ahead of me. I started on a different spiritual journey where, by the grace of God, I can literally feel the pain and the suffering of the poor with many prayers, spiritual direction, sleepless nights, and fasting. The International Missionary Foundation was born. The International Missionary Foundation is a Catholic non-profit organization dedicated to serving the suffering Christ and the poor, while offering parishioners a spiritual immersion experience through parish-to-parish partnerships with developing nations. Basically, through international missions that IMF is offering, parishioners get to have an opportunity to encounter the suffering Christ in the poor and at the same time grow in their spiritual life.
One of the great works of the International Missionary Foundation is to be building a hospital where it is very much needed. It was over a year ago that I had the opportunity with IMF to go to Nigeria, to a rural part where there is not adequate medical care, not for adults and especially not for children, where the infant mortality and the maternal mortality rates are astronomically high. This part of the world has its own versions of corruption, and that's mixed with the lack of medical resources to help meet the normal realities that you and I would face here in the United States. I had the opportunity to go there with IMF to help lobby both the local church and the Nigerian government for the building of the first Catholic children's hospital in that entire region. When I had the blessing of being in Nigeria and seeing the local need of the people where the children's hospital is to be built, I met the local Catholic bishop of that part of Nigeria, Bishop Martin, and I asked him at that time, what could I say to the people back in the United States about the local need? Was there an actual concrete need? Was there something that really could draw people's attention to this part of the world? The bishop said there was an absolute need, that the people are largely impoverished and they don't have the medical resources. And if we could but build a simple medical center, a hospital of this nature, as simple as it seems to us Americans, that we could do so much lasting good in building up a healthcare infrastructure in this part of the world. We could actually, truly save the lives of children and of their mothers because they would have for the first time in this part of the country where so many children are just born in the bush, they would have the ability to get the normal health care that we Americans take for granted.
By the grace of God, in 2015, we went on a pilot trip to Nigeria together with Dr. Cora, who is a pediatric doctor and a pediatric nurse. And during that experience, we met a lot of children. And I remember Dr. Cora saying, if we really need to help these people, we need to put up a structure in order to be able to make a sustainable impact in the lives of the poor. And in 2016, I went together with Father Sam, our national chaplain, to meet with the government, meet with the Commissioner for Health, and meet with the Bishop, during which we were able to discuss on terms and how the project is going to look like and how it will be of great help to not just the people in the diocese, but to the people in the 10 surrounding states, because Lokoja is centrally located at the heart of the country, bordered by 10 states. And it's going to be the first children's hospital in the state and in the environment. And so with that in mind, this year we went on a healthcare outreach to Lokoja Diocese. We attended to over 900 patients. We also left Lokoja to one of our mission field, which is in Bashita in Lorin Diocese, where we attended to over 300 patients there. We also have another outreach mission in in Nigeria, which is in Umuahia Diocese. Basically, we have 3 mission fields in Nigeria, but specifically we are focusing on Lokoja, trying to erect a structure, and then from there we can reach out to other dioceses.
One of the successes among many that we count is the story of Divine, a little girl that IMF met along the way in Nigeria. Unfortunately, when she was born, Divine did not have a fully developed digestive system. To put it quite simply, she wasn't able to pass human waste from her body by any natural means, something the vast majority of us would take for granted, and if we were born that way, we would find an easy fix through our medical system. She was facing certain medical difficulties until IMF came in, and through the work, the accompaniment, through the charitable donations, we were able to help Divine get the surgery she needed to rectify the situation and also to give her mother a lasting means of employment, helping her find the work that would sustain the sort of lifestyle that would support this girl in her difficulties. IMF is not about quick fixes. Our work is to enter into the lives of other people with God's help and grace always, so as to make for those lasting, sustainable changes that make life better.
In the art of self-donation, there is something so profound, so mysterious, but at the same time so divine, that happens when we donate ourselves in a sincere gift to the service of our brothers and sisters. I call you brothers and sisters. I call you pastors. I call you medical professionals. I call on you parishioners to embrace this divine call to a self-donation, to live for others. For in such act, we will discover who we really are. And who we really are will be revealed to us when we love sacrificially, when we love in a way that it hurts, as called for by Mother Teresa. International missions create a wonderful, a perfect opportunity to live outside of our own world, to step outside of our own comforts, to be in a place where we feel vulnerable, to be in a place where we are more vulnerable to God's mercy, to God's love, to God's healing, to God's power, where our ears are tuned to hear what God wants to say, where our hearts ponder to know what God wants of us, and where our hands and our eyes and our feet are all working towards helping the poor, where mission takes place, where encounter is revealed, where God's presence is being made manifest.
Tonight, you're hearing about all of the great good that is the International Missionary Foundation. You might be asking yourself, how can I make a lasting contribution to the good of this organization? Well, one way, of course, is through your financial gifts, and we would be very grateful for that already in advance tonight. But there's other ways that we can be generous as well. Perhaps you have time to volunteer at the national offices here in the Archdiocese of Denver. Perhaps you can make phone calls, be an advocate for this program at your parish. Maybe you can spread the good word. Maybe you have some other gifts and abilities, a donation you can give in kind of your time or your talents. whatever you think would be good to offer for the good of IMF, please come talk to one of us afterwards. Maybe you could be on our board and help advise us in the good that we're doing to hopefully reach so many, not only in far foreign fields, but back here in the parishes that go off on these missions. We look forward to having you be partners, and more than, in doing this work of collaborating with us to meet, to serve Jesus in his little brothers and sisters, to meet him there, find him there, and love him there.